Some of the people are laying complaints, especially from the court of law. When a suspect has been arrested and arraigned before the court, instead to get a punishment, a day or two, you will see the suspect roaming in the town. Even the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Usman Alkali Baba, have said this kind of complaint during the opening ceremony of one of the divisional offices in Katsina State. But the Chief Judge of Katsina State, Justice Musa Danladi Abubakar, shed more light on this issue.
Maybe you didn't understand him well. It is the police that make arrests. They gather the evidence. Eh? They take it to the Ministry of Justice. It is the Ministry of Justice that determines.
That's why we say the proven is according to
Now, the ministry determines if there is a prima facie case. Because the police are not lawyers, they are not professionals. They are only law enforcement agents. Isn't it? When they arrest, maybe it is said robbery. That is what you go and report to the police station. But when it was later discovered that it is a simple theft, because to establish robbery, there are some elements. Must be armed, with a dangerous weapon, or a toy gun, put the person in fear of court. When a person breaks in, took something and ran away, it's not robbery. It's burglary and theft. But the police will take it as robbery. If you come to court, you have to prove that the offense being alleged has been committed and committed by the person you suspect to have committed it. In the process, they immediately take a person because the Constitution says you must take somebody to court within 24 48 hours. They take them to magistrate court so that at least a person is before the court for cognizance, which also is strange. Now, the magistrate has no jurisdiction. The police will say, we want him to be remanded pending completion of our investigation. God knows that investigation can take 3 years because of logistic problems. And that is what I just see, that we cannot afford a situation where an offense has been committed in Batagarawa and it takes the police 3 months to complete investigation. Because either the victim doesn't have the money to give them to fuel their vehicle or to take them there, right? And then they compile the case there. In the process, the IPO that started the investigation may have been transferred to Maiduguri or elsewhere. He will still come to give evidence. He doesn't have transport. Maybe it's a middle of the month. Assuming he will pay for his transport and come and make claim. Now, the Ministry of Justice will study the file, return it to the police. If there is a prima facie case, they file a charge before the High Court, and it begins there. In the meantime, that person may be languishing in prison 10 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. And what the Constitution, fundamental right of the citizen is that if you are accused of an offense, you must be taken to court within a reasonable period of time. In fact, the Constitution specifies if you are not taken to court within 3 months, you are entitled to be released on bail until such a time. We are a court of justice. If that person that you detain come before the court to enforce his fundamental right, that I am a citizen of Nigeria, I have been arrested, suspected of whatever crime, but I have been languishing in prison. I have not been told the offense. I have not been charged to court. Remember, taking him to magistrate court is not a charge to court, because the Constitution and law doesn't even do that. We allow it to go because we don't want everybody that is suspected to look robbery until they finish their investigation. Sometimes it serves some purpose for the society. At least victim will feel a bit relaxed. But when it takes too long and that person comes and says, the police have arrested me, I don't know what I have done, I need to enforce my rights. What will ask the police? Come and show us why you are taking this long, why we cannot grant him bail. until you finish your investigation, because he's a Nigerian and we work on the constitution, and the constitution says any citizen that is suspected of having committed an offense is presumed innocent until proven guilty by a competent court of law. They have the comfort of saying they have arrested, yes, but they don't have the comfort of saying we have not prevented. When they make arrests, they cannot pass the sentence. They cannot impose any punishment. They take that person as a suspect and is innocent. Who will prove him guilty? It is in the court. Right? So these are technical issues, but everyone will protect his own side. Yes, they do make arrests. How many times do you take a person to court if there is no evidence? What do you do? Like the instance I gave you of a rapist, whom the victim says she doesn't even know. She has never seen him. Is it a kangaroo court that you say, okay, because the police said you have committed it and some neighbors arrested you, you go to jail? Even if you want to use circumstantial evidence, the principal witness must say, yes, I have been raped. There is proof of it. This is the person that raped me. These are the circumstances that he committed the offense before you send him to jail. Of course, the law has been changed now. Rape attracts death penalty or life imprisonment. But how many rape cases have been taken and proved beyond reasonable doubt for the court to convict? You just don't convict because offenses are too many. You don't convict on suspicion. And the rate of crime that is going on is to replicate geometrical order. If in January you have 100 cases, and in February you have 200, expect to have 400 in March, and 800 in April. So the right is geometrical. I have gone to the custodial center several times, 2020, 2021, 2022. Even this year I visited the prison, released persons that should not have been there several times. I even issued guidelines for remanding persons and even for sentencing them. If it is a minor offense, please give him alternative sentence. Let him go and do community service so that you save the taxpayers' money. Because each prisoner consumes about 700-800 per day. Each inmate in the prison. And some of them you can have removed them there because what they have done doesn't warrant you taking them to prison. The whole thing is too technical for anybody's understanding. The only way is when we sit down like we are doing now. There is a committee. I am the chair. The Attorney General is there. Commissioner of Police is there. Director SS who also makes some arrest and detention is there. Controller of Custodial Center is there. Human Rights Commission is there. Bar Association is there. Some civil society organizations are there. We meet from time to time. Why are there so many inmates in prison? The police, we have confided and sent to the ministry, the Attorney General, what is happening? We have just given out 2 vehicles, one to the Secretary of the Committee, one to the police. We bought computers because I intend to start tracking. If the police takes the case theory to the Ministry of Justice, to give them a time frame of 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, must deal with those files within 2 weeks. Either take them to High Court or send them back to the Magistrate Court to discharge these people if they have no case to answer. From there, the prosecution begins. You come to the High Court, they will tell you they have 10 witnesses. Bring them. They take a date. Day 1, we could not trace our witnesses. Day 2, the witness is sick. Day 3, the prosecution has gone for a special duty. Therefore, he has been transferred to Yamato. We could not reach him to serve him the summons. And that goes on and on. If the court says after 4 adjournments, we will discharge, he will be discharging 8 out of 10 persons standing trial before the court. We are here ready to. Sometimes we stay here, we wait around the clock. But if you don't have the witnesses, what do you do? Sometimes you come to sit in the court, they say the Green Maria has broken down, they can't bring the prisoners to court. Do you endorse that a prisoner should be taken on taken apart to court if he is a dangerous accused person? What happens? So we facilitated that this vehicle should be repaired.